Thank you for joining on the next episode of, well, I don't have a name yet, but so far you guys know that I'm trying to figure out how to sleep at night. I have a lot of entrepreneurial ideas. I don't know what to do with them, but I gotta get them out of my head. So I'm on a journey to ask a lot of questions and try to figure out how to actually execute some of these ideas. Today is the third of 3 interviews I've done with Atlanta's C-Money, Charlton Cunningham. A good friend, known him for several years. He's young, but he's accomplished some cool things. He's still in that early phase of his career, just trying to figure out where he wants to go next. So there's some great insights in this interview. One of them is we have to move our audience from including them to involving them. And then that led us to, what can this vlog be? What should it be? We got some work to do. Please forgive me as Charlton is outside and apparently the birds wanted to be part of this interview.
Looking back, I've seen a lot of the things you've been part of. You've done well, this idea of just collaboration and community. What would you recommend for me in going through this process and inviting people and us, launching these ideas together? How can I do that?
The biggest thing is just to get feedback on kind of, especially in the beginning, it's always great to get feedback on the initial level, to get input. Really great thing that my friend Jake Dudley says is that it's more than just including people, it's about involving them. So you can have a bunch of people around, but unless you involve them in the process of, the thing you're making and, allowing them to speak into it, then you're really not collaborating. You just kind of have people around. It's like a middle school dance. You got to start dancing. Got to start dancing with the people. So I would say involve people early on in the process. You get a lot of input, you get a lot of feedback, and then it'll be better for down the line if somebody has, it's better to get input early on than later on because you're less attached to it. It's not really your baby, people aren't putting clothes on your baby and you're like, stop, he doesn't wear that, right? So I would say that would be the biggest advice I would give to you.
What would you say your biggest fear is?
Probably my biggest fear is one of my biggest fears is thinking that I've fully fleshed out an idea and have a resolution. So not resolving an idea is probably the biggest fear I have, because there's a lot, I have an idea, and if you don't fully resolve it, then you might think you've done it, but then you'll always have that in the nagging part of your mind. Well, I only did it halfway. And so, and then it's just it's still back in that, in your mind. And so not fully resolving an idea is probably the biggest fear I have.
So then it's almost like if you're going to choose an idea and run with it, and you got to carry it through that this idea was either successful or not successful. I've read, put a time limit to it. I'm going to try this for 2 years, or, I'm going to try to get to this stage. And if I don't get to this stage, I'm going to kill it. Do you have any advice for me? I'll ask it this way. You've seen the first video. What do I absolutely have to do, or you will not come back and watch that content?
I think you're an engaging person. I think the content needs to be engaging. You're pretty personable. So, I'm going to watch your videos because you're my friend and I like you. but make sure that the content and the things you're talking about, people care about. Make sure that it's not too long. Make sure you get to the point, I've already saw that one of my favorite vloggers is Gary Vaynerchuk. And he's very, you like him when you see him. He gets to the point. It's a short video. He's personable, and it's great content. And so, those are kind of the things I look for if and when I'm watching a vlog. So.
Yeah. Cool.